Hi, and welcome to the BookishStitcher podcast. My name is Jeanette. You can find me on Ravelry, Instagram, and Goodreads as BookishStitcher, all one word. I hope you guys have had a fantastic 2 weeks since I last recorded. I'm highly anticipating the change in the weather that is coming up pretty soon, hopefully. And I've got all like fall stuff, and I'm having some maple pecan coffee, and I'm just very excited about, in the not so distant future, pulling out my knitwear and wearing it during the day and everything. So it's going to be so much fun, and I always get really in a good mood when this time of year turns around to coming. So for my finished object, I have one this week. I was really close to having two, but I wanted to go ahead and record now instead of waiting till I finish the other, just so I could make sure this kind of got up on Sunday. So I finished my dotted raised shawl, and it's been blocked and the ends are sewn in like a boss. So here it is, and it was done out of it's a Stephen West pattern. It was done out of some Vice yarn in a special colorway that she did for the Hill Country Weavers Retreat, and it's just a gorgeous, these are completely my colors, as you can see. And the yarn didn't bleed too much in the bath, which was nice. I was a little bit worried because some of these colors are very saturated, and it bled a little, but not enough to mess up the colors or anything, because that would have been a tragedy if it had bled so much that it had, messed up the colors. But yeah, it's a nice size. It's not huge, but I did make it larger than the pattern called for because I kept going and did an extra repeat. And I really love the thing at Stephen West that I've seen him do on a lot of the more recent patterns that I've knit of his is the I-cord cast on, or I-cord edging, or I-cord bind off. It's just a really nice finish, and it doesn't take that much extra work. Like on some of his I've done the picot, which I love doing as well, but for some reason the picot feels like it takes more work than the I-cord. So yeah, and the lace part, the holes blocked out beautifully. You can see how it kind of starts off here and it just radiates, getting bigger and bigger, and it's a gorgeous pattern. And the yarn, it comes in a cake. I've shown this to you before, that's already almost like a sock blank that you've unraveled. It's squiggly, and it didn't become unsquiggly, but it did soften up considerably after washing, and it smells like Tuft Woolen's Blueberry Lemonade sock soap, so that's wonderful, or their wool wash. But it's just really nice, and I'm excited to wear this. I think I will need a shawl pin probably for it, because I don't know how well it's not so large that it can be wrapped around so many times that it will stay up very well on its own, unlike another one that I have coming up. So the next thing that I almost finished, this is in a Fat Squirrel Fibers bag, and this is a pair of socks that I'm doing out of some Knit Circus yarns in her Robin's Egg color. And the first one is completed. I showed you guys this last week. And this yarn I actually got on a yarn crawl 2 or 3 years ago at this yarn store in Wimberley called Ply, which is cool because they're having the yarn crawl again this year. The best little yarn crawl in Texas or something like that. But I'm actually going to be vending Open Skies yarn at Ply for this, and I'm going to be there. I believe it's October 10th or 11th, but I will be there that day vending yarn. So if you're doing the yarn crawl and you are going to be at Ply at that time, definitely stop by and say hi to me. I have the day off my other job, my work, to go do that side hustle job and just spend the day hopefully seeing a lot of knitters coming in. Hopefully I'll see some of you and say hi, and then probably before I leave doing a little bit of shopping at that yarn store. So it'll be a win-win. And they just carry such a great selection at Ply. So if you're ever in the Wimberley area in Texas, I highly recommend you going check them out, because this is where I got the Knit Circus there. And this yarn crawl, she really wants to focus on indie dyes, so she contacted me and a whole bunch of other indie dyers, so she's going to have a really fun selection there. And then, almost done. I believe when I showed you these last, I just barely started the toe. So I finished the foot and I worked my way up, and now I'm almost done with the cuff. I like it really long because I'm making these really cozy house socks that I can fold down, and they can be great like worn over leggings if you want to wear them up or rolled down, or I just wanted socks that are oversized. I know so many people love negative ease on their socks, but there's just something about house socks that you can slip on and they're just slouchy instead of the tight, you know, socks that go. These will not fit into tennis shoes, but that's the point of them. They're not going to be socks for shoes. They're going to be socks for being cozy around the house with my tea and my book and wearing my hand knits. So it's great. And I really love knitting the Knit Circus yarn on wooden needles. I don't know why, but I've been really into the wooden needles recently, loving them so much. And then next, I have my Paloma sweater. I had swatched for my daughter's Old Growth by Tin Can Knits, and I was going to start it this 2 weeks since I last recorded, but then I said to myself, finish this one sweater and then you can start your daughter's, because so many things on the needles. But the last time I showed this to you guys, I know I had this back part done. So that's the back, and it's going to need to be pieced together. And all my needles everywhere. And then I had done one of the front panels. This one was done, and then this other one I just finished. I kept it on a spare thing to keep the stitches for the 3 needle bind off for the shoulders, but the other panel is done, and you have a provisional cast on for your pockets. You can go back and add those. And then I started, and this is out of some O Wool Legacy Bulky in the Rain Cloud colorway. I started the sleeves. Now I think normally when you think of sleeves, you think of like sleeve purgatory of doing the sleeves like forever. But these sleeves, so fast. I have the feeling that I'm going to be able to do a sleeve much more quickly than I was able to do the panel. And also I have very extremely short arms, so I love that this is done in pieces to where I can kind of hold it up to my arm and see and make sure that it fits, and kind of resize it for myself. So it's always nice. That's the wonderful thing about knitting. I have very narrow shoulders but larger arms, so I can kind of make the sweater work really well for me, as opposed to in the store having to either have really tight on my arms or having extra bagginess up in the shoulders. So it's just a wonderful thing about our craft that you can customize things so much. And that's the start of the sleeve. And I might make it, I like my sleeves to come down to where before the fingers start. So I like it to kind of be where you can pull it down and feel really cozy. So that's probably what I'll do with this if it works out well. And so that's my Paloma sweater, and it's being housed in a giant, I didn't realize this is almost all Fat Squirrel Fibers bags, but this is giant. This is the biggest sweater bag I have, and it can't even all fit in here. It just has pieces, so yeah. And it almost feels kind of fall, but it feels kind of like foraging in the forest. There's mushrooms and acorns and flowers and dandelions and all kinds of bugs that you would find in the forest, and leaves. And then the next thing I've been working on is the Sock Blank September. Now I know I hadn't put up a thread for that yet, and it's up there now because it just took me a while, but I'm going to leave it up for a while because I put it up so late. I just figured that's only fair, so it'll be up there for a while. And my sock blank that I am doing for Sock Blank September is from Gail's Art. This is her label. And I'm doing the New Leaf. I believe it's called New Leaf. Yeah, New Leaf. And it looks like this. It's just gorgeous fall colors. And last time that I had shown this on the podcast, I think I was down here in the brown somewhere. But since then I have finished the brown, started on the beautiful, this is what it looks like where you get the section where the leaves are, how it colors up so far, and it's just gorgeous. This is such a like little pocket of fall here on the heel of this sock because it's orange with these flecks of brown and red. And so I've turned the heel and I'm getting ready to work up the cuff. I've already mapped out where on this I will be doing, like when I get through with this leaf pattern part, I'm going to do the cuff in the purple and then start the toe of the second one in the purple so that they can kind of be similar, so then the socks will match a fair bit. And then hopefully I will have enough left of the leaf to kind of keep a little bit of it and maybe put it in an embroidery hoop and use it as a fall decoration for around the house. So that's my sock blank. And then since I had finished off that one Stephen West shawl, I picked up another Stephen West shawl that I had as a whip from February. This is a bag that my friend Amelia, sweet friend, made for me, and it's got matryoshkas. I need to practice my Russian more. I haven't been to the Russian market here and gotten to practice or seen my Russian friend for a while. I did send her some tea recently and some Russian tea and stuff like that, but haven't gotten to see and hang out with her much, so gotta practice more of my stuff. I did get to go into a Japanese market on Friday, and this is kind of exciting because I got to go in and I was walking by someone and I said, "Excuse me," in Japanese, "Sumimasen," and she was surprised that I could speak in Japanese, so she started talking to me in Japanese. And then whenever I would try to say something in English because I didn't know the Japanese for it, she would be like, she was Nihongo, like speak in Japanese. She would say to me to speak in Japanese, and there's a Japanese festival coming up, a fall festival, Japanese fall festival, two things I love, coming up very soon in San Antonio. And so she sent me a poster and I was like, iku, like I'll go. And it was just really exciting, and hopefully I will get some footage of that to post on the podcast next time. I'm trying to look at my calendar, but the festival's in the beginning of October, and right now it's September, so I don't know when that's all going to correspond to when I will podcast. But I will, whenever that rolls around, take some footage for you guys because I think that's going to be a fantastic time. But long story short of that, I have in here another shawl that I was working on, and this is a whip that I started in February, like I was saying, and it is done out of, it's my first time using this yarn. Lolo did it in her Fairy Ponds colorway, and this feels very good, like autumnal colorway as well, because it is kind of this, I don't want to say dirty white, but like off-white, but I don't know, like ecru. But it has these pops of like an olive green and browns and burgundy and occasionally like this like almost royal blue. It's just it feels very like you're walking in the woods and you're stumbling across little bits of leaves falling on the floor, and the leaves are the colors of the speckles. So this is what it looks like so far. Now this shawl is going to be a massive wrap yourself up on your couch shawl. I think it has, my version's gonna have like 1,600 yards to it, so 4 skeins of sock yarn. And this is what I'm trying to decide right now, whether I want to kind of fade in the colors, so do a couple, like 1 row of the color that will be next along with the color that's happening right now, or if I just want to have a stark contrast of the 2 different colors. But I did pick colors that kind of go into each other from lightest to dark. And this yarn is lovely. I got her favorite base, I believe, and it's just so soft. This is the only Lolo that I'm using on the shawl, but I'm just really enjoying this color and the feel of the yarn. And then I have my little pumpkins going on here. My son is obsessed with everything pumpkin. We were at Trader Joe's, the grocery store, earlier, and he was just pumpkin waffles, pumpkin almond milk, pumpkin everything. So I have raised him well. I am one of those people that, you know, loves pumpkin to a ridiculous extent, but apparently not as much as my son, because I'm not sure I would drink pumpkin almond milk. But yeah, this is such an enjoyable knit, and it grows in a really intuitive way, and I get to use my awesome, I love these so much, origami star stitch markers from the Sexy Knitter, and it's so nice. I'm excited to add in the next color, which I believe is some Primrose Fiber Company. And it just keeps going. And then some Neely's Knits, I think. And then the last one is some Hedgehog Fiber. So it's just a wonderful sampling of some different yarns that I haven't gotten to try before. And it's going to be huge. I'm hoping to get it done this year. But really, if you're enjoying a knit and it takes forever, where's the bad? Where's the bad in that? Like, it just seems like that's all good things. If it's lovely yarn and it's beautiful and it just feels nice and the pattern is just soothing, and you can, you know, kind of TV knitting. I don't watch TV at all, but movie knitting or documentary knitting, then it seems just like the perfect thing to be an ongoing project. So yeah, that is all of my knitting. Now, I believe coming up the first weekend in October, possibly, is Spinzilla. I have participated in that every single year since I got my wheel. And Spinzilla, if you don't know, is a spinning competition that is occurs for 7 days during a week, and you're on a team, and the object is to spin as much as you possibly can in those 7 days. And I have done it every year since I've had my wheel, but I will not be doing it this year. I'll miss doing it with my team and stuff like that. But now with working what was supposed to be mostly like a pretty full part-time schedule, it's almost turned into like a full-time schedule because I'm working on weekends too, and then it's just really random hours. But so I don't want to commit to that and then be like, oh, I didn't really get to spin it all this week, team, I'm sorry. So I just don't want to let people down. So I'm not going to be doing that. I have made an executive decision on my wheel. I have something on it right now that is a merino bamboo blend, and it's predominantly bamboo to the point to where it's not fun to spin it all. So I'm going to take that off my wheel and put something else on and try to find a friend that that loves bamboo and that I can give that to. It was a gorgeous color, but it's also kind of a reddy pink, and while I love pink, I'm not so much of a red person. So it's just better to cut my losses on that and pick something that I'll love and enjoy working on, that will make me want to get on my wheel, because I do feel like pretty soon I'll be able to take my wheel out on my tiny little deck in the backyard and spin. I just need to get a chair. We had a couple, like, not deck chairs, but you know, like chairs that you would take to sporting events, but they've like completely rusted over because Texas has harsh weather, and so I need to get some new ones and I can spin in the backyard, and that would be just so wonderful. I don't have any enabling this week. I know Stitches Texas was last weekend, I believe, and if you went and got beautiful enabling, I am so happy for you. I did have a friend, my friend Heidi texted me and said that she had picked me up something from Leading Men Fiber Arts, which I'm excited because I have seen their yarn in person once at an SSK knitting retreat, but it's been a long time. And I think they were just starting out dyeing yarn then, so I haven't gotten to see their like vast array now of colors. And I was tempted, but I had to work that weekend, so I really couldn't go up to the Stitches in Dallas, but I'm excited to see. My friend got me some pretty yarn, so I thank you, Heidi, for getting that for me. She's so sweet and surprised me with that. I just told her that I really wanted to like try some of their yarn, and she picked beautiful color. And then I have gotten books, because I was telling a friend I was knitting with earlier that, not today, but earlier this week, that since I've been working so hard, and it's not really a job that requires intelligence, or it doesn't like require me to like use my mind in interesting ways. It does require intelligence because everything does, but I just feel like I'm, okay, call these 4 florists, get prices for this flower, okay, call these cake people, can we meet here? It's very much like assistant, wedding planner, helper person, and drive around town person, which is great for listening to audiobooks. But since it's kind of a tiring job, I have been allowing myself to like when I'm done with work on Friday before I pick my kids up from school, go to the bookstore and get like 1 or 2 new books, and that's been great. And I may have convinced my husband to build me a little reading nook over there in my living room, and it's gonna be great. It's gonna have like shelves of my books above me, and then it's gonna have a little bench slash thing that opens up with blankets and pillows and be like a little cocoon to read. And my son's really excited about it too, so maybe him and I in our little reading nook in the winter, depending on, might be winter 2 years from now, how long it takes my husband to build a little reading nook. But that has definitely been a fun side bonus of having a job where I'm making pretty good money, not great money, but pretty good money for what it is, right? So speaking of books, oh, and group news, sorry. We have a group, a Ravelry, that I need to be more active in, and it's the BookishStitcher podcast. Like I said, I will put up a thread for the Sock Blank September. I still have to add up threads for episodes. Thank you so much to Tania for closing down some threads for me. So now to announce the winners for a whole bunch of different stuff for the group. So I need to say a huge thank you to Mina Knitting Expat, who forever ago donated the Color Blender shawl pattern, wrap shawl pattern to the podcast, and I believe it's called Color Blender, but it's gorgeous and you guys should all go check it out. And definitely she has beautiful patterns. If you are a big sock knitter or a shawl knitter, she has gorgeous stuff, and I know I have a couple of hers in my library that I'm really excited to knit probably next year. But the winner for that, so thank you Mina again, the winner for that is post number 37, Angelada, and so just contact me when you see this and I will get the pattern sent out to you. And then for the read along, the winner was post number 12, and that is Family Diva. So just contact me when you see this, Family Diva, and I will send you a little prize package of fun read along things. And then the winner for the Summer Whippet Cal was post number 32, which is M's Little Nest. So M's Little Nest, contact me when you see this and I will get you a prize package sent out for the whip. And then I chose 2 winners from Instagram for the September Sock Blank Cal, and these people are just anybody, if you have posted on Instagram a picture of your sock blank that you're knitting and use the hashtag September Sock Blank KAL, and make sure you're have a public profile so I can see it. And so the 2 winners that I chose for this time is Jem L. Rise and Ashley Holland. And so those 2, if you just contact me when you see this, and you will get to pick a $7 or less pattern of your choice. And then next time I record, when the Sock Blank September will be over, I will choose 2 more winners for patterns from Instagram. So you still have a chance to win, just post your pictures up there. And then I will choose a grand winner from the thread that I put up in Ravelry. So that is everything for all the giveaways that we had going on in the group for the podcast. Now to the book. So I have 2 books to recommend this week. One because I absolutely loved it and it's now one of my new favorites, and the other because it's almost October Halloween time and I figured it'd be good to start on the scary books now. So I get a sip of my coffee. So this next book, or the first book I'm going to recommend, is called We Are Okay by Nina LaCour. I've been seeing this book everywhere. I'd seen it at the bookstore. I'd heard tons of people talking about it. The cover absolutely blows me away. And the inside cover, oh, it's so beautiful. And some of the reviews on it are just like poetic and gorgeously written. The world LaCour creates is fragile but profoundly humane. Beautiful, devastating piece of art. So lonely and beautiful that I could hardly breathe. This is a perfect book. As beautiful as the best memories, as sad as the best songs, as hopeful as your best dreams. Like, there are just so many wonderful praise for it, and I feel that they're well deserved. This book is about a girl named Marin who has a devastating death in her family, a very tiny family, kind of makes her, this death kind of leaves her without any family. And because of it, and something shocking that she finds out from the death, she leaves her home that she's always known with just her wallet and a picture of someone. You go through life thinking there's so much you need until you leave with only your phone, your wallet, and a picture of your mother. And so she just leaves. She hops on a plane and leaves. And it is a YA, and where she is leaving from her home to her college that she was supposed to be going to. So she was going to be going there anyways, but she just leaves early, and she kind of cuts off everyone that she knew before because she's just in this immense place of grief. And it starts off at winter holiday break, to where everybody has left the dorm, but Marin has received special permission to stay and live in the dorms, and her best friend from before, her life before, Mabel, has been texting her all throughout the semester, trying to contact her, and she hasn't been answering any of the texts, so Mabel has decided to fly there for the winter break. And it starts off with Marin getting ready for Mabel to come and wondering what it's going to be like, her seeing this person that she hasn't seen in forever, and wondering if she's going to be able to tell her what has happened and like what, you know, the secrets and stuff like that. But it makes it sound kind of interesting, but this book is really a quiet book. If you've ever rated a book on Goodreads or in your life, if you've ever rated, like, been like, that book was boring, this is probably not the book for you. I don't think books can be boring. I read textbooks for fun, but this is just, it's a very quiet book, and it deals with grief and loneliness and the formation of family, and how family isn't always who you are, you know, born to, but families that we create through love. And just, I sobbed at the end of this book, happy tears, because there's some wonderful characters in this book that are so kind and loving, and it's just really an accurate portrayal, I feel, of loneliness. It's beautifully done, and if you like quiet books that will make you cry from sadness, make you cry from happiness. And I think the good thing that this book has going for it as well, because it is kind of a slow moving book, which I think is beautiful, but it is shorter. So it's not like you're reading 800 pages of slow moving things about grief. So, but it is a YA, and the characters, Mabel and Marin, have in the past had a relationship that it kind of delves into. So it's very, you know, exploring kind of emotions and different things. And I haven't given it my review on Goodreads yet because I was just so emotionally distraught after. I felt really like wrung out after reading it. I needed a while to like wait for a while before I reviewed it. But this quote I have here, I just love it. It says, "I was lonely, I say, and then I say it again, because I told myself lies for so long, and now my body is still and my breath is steady, and I feel alive with the truth." So it's just beautifully written, and really I feel so happy to have this book because the cover, I just can't, when I was reading it, I kept holding it up to my husband and being like, "Look, it's beautiful." And he was like, "I know, you told me." So that is that book, which I probably talked the most about because I just loved it. And then the spooky book is a dark retelling of Peter Pan. And it's called The Child Thief. And it is by Brom. One name. He's like Madonna or Cher. He's Brom. He's the king of gory darkness. It says in his bio for the author, it says, where is it? Brom is currently kept in a dank cellar somewhere just outside of Seattle. And so The Child Thief is a retelling of Peter Pan, in which Peter Pan lives in Neverland, but it has, the cool thing about this is it has done a whole bunch more background to Neverland and added, just made it really a beautiful world with rich history and a lot. It's way beyond Peter Pan himself. It's a bigger world than that. The world building was really exquisite. And so Peter through events as a child comes to live in this world. It's not called Neverland. I forget exactly what it's called. Oh man, it has a beautiful name. It kind of reminded me of Tolkien, but I can't remember what it's called right now. It's a complicated word. But Peter as a child comes to live in this land, and he starts going between the land and New York, different, the real world, as you would say, the non-magical world, and recruiting children who have really tough upbringings. Either the first few pages of this, I didn't know if I was going to be able to keep going because there was some sexual abuse, which I really can't read. And so trigger warnings. But so kids that have had really horrible upbringings, drugs, abuse of all kinds, and he takes them to this other land to raise them, as he calls devils, and the devils help fight the pirates, which are the backstory on the captain and the pirate, and like that whole thing was really interesting, and I love how he kind of made that an entirely different twist upon what you think of as in the typical Peter Pan. And the captain's not really the character you think he is. And so the world, the magical world, is kind of collapsing and dying. And it's just what was once a land of plenty is now being taken out, and it's all turning black, and they're having trouble even finding food. So one of the kids that Peter brings back is named Nick, and it kind of deals with Nick's story with the story of the Devil Boys from Nick's interpretation and from Peter. So it switches back between several perspectives, and there's beautiful artwork in here that is extremely dark, but there's a unique drawing by Brom at the beginning of every chapter, and then in the middle there is this section with drawings of the different characters. So I'll just show a couple. There's Peter, and then there's the Reverend, which he's so creepy. So this, I think, and there's the back, would be a very good Halloween type read. It is a chunky book, like it's tall, and it's almost 500 pages, and I read it earlier this year, and I think I would have been better served reading it during the fall or during Halloween time, because it is pretty graphic and pretty gory in spots, and not necessarily something I would enjoy reading if it wasn't like Halloween time. So I think that this is a perfect book for the upcoming season if you love dark retellings or Peter Pan. So that is everything I have for right now. If you have any really dark, spooky fall reads that you like to read this time of the year, I would love to know some of them. You can comment below and just let me know, because I'm always wanting to add books to my TBR. But yeah, I think this is all that I have for right now, and until the next week, 2 weeks that I see you will be in October, and then hopefully I will have some Japanese festival footage if it falls on the right time. But yeah, so until next time, I hope you guys have a great week and you get to do all the things you love. Okay, bye.